Hi.
Well, hello there. How are you? I feel like I'm talking right directly to them. Isn't that interesting?
But you are.
But I mean, it's like they're right there.
Technology.
It is interesting. Well, we're coming live from our home.
Are we crooked? I tried to straighten it out right when we first started. There we go.
Live from our home. We just got back from Afton, Wyoming. I think some of you saw that, but we had the worst. What do you call it?
We couldn't use
live.
cell service, and so we had to use Wi-Fi, and the Wi-Fi wasn't working.
Right. And so we saw this spottiness going on, so I thought, you know what? I want to do a little bit of a redo. You know, second time around, like with second time around. It works great.
Chances.
Exactly.
Okay, so I know a lot of you won't be joining us straight on.
No.
I know we have a few people, but it's not going to be like our regular group.
Right.
A lot of you can watch it later, which is great.
And what we did is after all that spottiness and we went around town and we videoed some really fun little places in Afton, and I thought it was beautiful.
I'll upload that later.
Will you do that? Okay, that'd be great. So they can see a little bit of that. So that was fun. But one of the things I was talking about that really made sense when we were sitting in the car and we were talking about the ripple effect.
Yes, I loved that.
You know, and every one of us have thrown a rock in a pond or a river or something. We see the ripple effect, but that's really about life. Is really what happens. I mean, what one person does because of a choice,
positive or negative.
It could go negative ripple, exactly. But I want to talk to you about this very, very special person right here. Okay, as a younger, he was a pioneer stud. He's my great grandpa Osmond, and
what was his first name?
Actually, George Rulon Osmond. George Rulon Osmond. Rulon was father's brother. He was named after Rulon, and then George, father's named after him,
okay.
And Verl, and then father had a third brother named Ralph, and then Aunt Cora was his sister.
I met her.
And you met her. That's right. But what we'd like to do is redo a little bit of what we said in Afton about this great man. We had a chance to go to see Osmond, Wyoming, the area that he started, and he had such a great effect. And I want to read. We brought a little bit
Look
of.
Look at all those hearts.
Oh,
They're sending love to you
wonderful?
while you're talking. Aren't they sweet?
We have the best friends out there. You know,
you guys are great.
And anyway, we had a great time. I was just a little upset about
the connectivity.
And I want to get something off my chest.
Uh-oh. Buckle in. Jay's going to get something off his chest.
You know how it just brings out the best and the worst in me. I
have no idea what he's going to say, by the way.
I know.
I like when
to
you
say
that, I'm like, oh no.
I like to say these little gems. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I don't know if they're gems, but anyway. A couple of weeks ago, I said something about I just really don't like country music.
I remember that.
Do you remember that?
Uh-huh.
Well, I apologize. I was talking about the twangy country music.
The old stuff.
I was not talking about the Billy Dean kind of music or the Garth Brooks or the Tim McGraw.
What happened was,
okay,
before we went to Wyoming, it was reminding me of, like, I call it mountain music, which is like the country music I love from the 90s.
Yes.
So I started downloading this whole playlist, and Jay came home from work for lunch.
That's
and
right.
I started playing him all these songs, and they were Garth Brooks, and I'd play one, and he'd say, I like that song. Who's singing that? And I say, Garth Brooks. And then I'd play another one. He's like, oh, that's a good one. Who's that?
George Strait.
Or I was like, Garth Brooks.
Oh, there was another Garth Brooks.
So I was playing him like a bunch of different country songs from the 90s.
Yeah.
And
that's
he's
right.
like, gosh, I said I hated country music. I think I didn't give it a good shot.
I think I owe an apology because I did not mean there's some great tunes in there.
And I said, Jay, Billy's country music. And he goes,
oh
yeah.
I love
that's
Billy's
right.
Music.
How many concerts of Billy's have we been to?
Oh, and then there was one song that you played.
And you love your friend Clay Cooper.
Clay Cooper. Oh, he's
great.
Yeah. Clay's great. Oh, I love Clay. And there's some wonderful people out there. But she played one song to me called Don't Take the Girl by Tim McGraw. I'm telling you, that just broke me up.
Yeah.
Wasn't that a wonderful song? And then I did say something about that I really didn't like our country albums. I did like the country albums. I didn't like the look that we were doing. It was more. We did some really wonderful songs.
You're a rock and roll guy.
But there, yeah. And I was torn at that time. It was back in the '80s, and I was going through some identity things, and
like we all did.
Like who is Jay versus Jay Osmond? You know what I mean? I had to go through that kind of silliness,
right.
But finally, we all go through that. But I there was one song we sang with him. It's heartache tonight.
Mel Tillis.
No. Conway Twitty. Conway Twitty.
That's what it was.
That's what it is. Okay.
I just could hear it in my head.
And I thought that was an
somehow.
honor to sing that with him. And then I thought that was a cool song. I love that.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that's one thing I had to get off my chest. So sorry about that. But I'm going back. Am I squirreling?
I don't think so. You're doing really good.
Am I? I'm going to go back to the ripple effect.
Yes, you did squirrel a little.
Okay,
Get it off your chest,
I got it.
but that's okay.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
All right, we'll get back to ripple. We'll get back to the ripple effect now. You're so cute. Good thing you're so cute.
Ripple. Okay, think of him as a rock.
Throwing in a pond.
He was a rock as a person, but think of him as an actual rock, and you throw him in, and the ripple effect. Okay, now look at this.
Should we first read about him, or do you want to do that later?
Let's hold on. You're right.
You do. Here, you can read that.
Let me. Okay,
I think we were the other day. I read it to about.
Do you want to read it again, or because we're redoing this whole thing?
Do you want me to?
Yeah, we're reading this whole thing again. I just want to read this one thing that I circled. That I love this.
Oh, go for it.
It says, lives of great men often remind us we can make our lives sublime, and departing leave behind us footprints on the sands of time. I really ruined that, didn't I?
Yeah.
Let me say that again. Here, I'm trying to really be dramatic with this thing. Lives of great men often remind us we can make our lives sublime, and departing leave behind us footprints on the sands of time.
Yeah, you got it.
That was really good.
That was really good.
I love it. So in other words, you can make your life great and try to make a good impact on someone, and you're going to leave ripples. I mean, okay, here's what really made me think of that. Mm-hmm. Look at someone's. So many of you sent in pictures of your families, okay, and then there was one I love. You know how I love to go through scrapbooks. Mm-hmm. There was one. I can't remember her name. Darn it! But anyway, she showed me a picture in that scrapbook of her as a little baby, then as a little girl, and then when she went through some challenging times, and then she got married, and husband and the kids, and then at the end of the book, it was just so well put together. Starting with a little baby girl, at the end it was like 50 people.
Oh wow!
And how they had, and what broke my heart in a positive way, their wonderful letter said that how, because of our music, and when she was going through a hard time, that she had that to hold on to, and because of that, it had a positive effect, and it affected her kids, and it went on and on. And I thought, wow, talk about feeling good. I needed that by the way, when I was going through a downtime a little bit, and I read that, and that picked me up.
Wow.
And I thought, wow, I needed that. And so many of us go through these hard times where whether it's a depression or anxiety or fear or someone's got a death in the family or a sickness, and boy, we need times where we need people to lift us, and so
something to grab onto. Yeah.
And so many things we're reading about Grandpa Osmond that he gave those little bits and pieces as he went to his whole community. Mm-hmm. And read the effect.
Okay.
Listen to this.
So it says this was a letter that they were talk they were giving at his funeral. Yeah. In Star Valley, Wyoming.
Yeah.
President George Osmond of the Star Valley Stake of Zion was born in London, England, on the 23rd of May, 1837. His father was George Osmond, and his mother was Nancy Canham of Woolwich, Kent, England. Mm-hmm. At a very early age, he was interested in religion, and he was anxious to know which of the various sects of the Mormon religion satisfied. Oh, this is the wrong one. Sorry, that was the wrong one.
Oh.
We were gonna do his life story.
Where
was it,
Did we
Jay?
get the right paper?
Oh, it's this one.
That's
You
what
had it.
I took it.
We weren't going into all that. We were just
See how
gonna
I can get it so disorganized.
He took my paper.
She was all organized.
That was his church. That was his church talk. So you know, a lot of times at a funeral, they'll have your life sketch.
Yes.
And then they'll have your religious sketch.
Right.
That was his religious sketch. I wasn't going to read that one. I was
That's
reading.
because I messed the papers
That's
up and I
okay.
got it all out.
It's okay. Do-overs, right?
Wait. This is when he was on the shoulders.
That's his funeral.
This is his funeral, and he built this. He built this tabernacle, by the way, and that's him and the casket there. But that's his funeral, and so many people wrote some amazing things about that man.
And I apologize. I'm going to start over. Second chances, right?
Okay, second chances.
George Osmond was born in London, England, May 23rd,
London, England. Okay.
1837.
That's the Rock.
His father was a member of an aristocratic family, a direct descendant of Lord Osmond. His mother was a refined young woman known as the Flower of Kent. And, you know, some of my family's from Kent. Isn't that funny?
I'm
Anyway.
amazed how we go back in our
pasts, yeah.
paths cross.
And belonged to the middle-class people. George Osmond's father, through marrying beneath him in a social scale, forfeited his share of the family fortune, but was still an heir to independent income that would be his when he became of age. Just a few months before he was 21, he was shot and killed by poachers. You know, a few people that did hear the broadcast on Saturday, I was saying I don't know what poachers would be. They were saying that if it was his land, since he was probably an heir to land and he was there, they were probably out hunting on his land and they weren't supposed to be. So they shot him because he caught them, probably. Anyway, his wife, Anne Canham Osmond, was left with twin baby boys, George being one of them. So he's already had a hard life, you know, without his dad. And you drew the conclusion that when he was one, his dad was shot, where your dad, when he was one...
Well, he was 3.
Oh, 3?
3. Almost 3.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, you're right. Well,
yeah, because when
you're
your
right.
mom went to watch him, he was 1.
The 1.
So when he was 1...
You're right. It was
his dad was
killed. And that was Roland, his dad, my grandpa. He was killed by a horse. He was kicked.
Yeah,
by a
so
horse.
the same thing had happened to his grandpa.
Right.
Anyway,
That's right.
his wife, Anne Canham Osmond, was left with twin boys, George being one of them. She managed to keep up a comfortable home until her boys were about 7 years old, when her home was burned to the ground. So, wow, another big tragedy. One of the twin boys had died the day before. Huge tragedy. But the only thing that she saved out of the burning house was his body. And so, sad. What sad things. She and her son George again established a house, and George received a good fundamental education. And then he entered this dockyard school to learn how to make ships. And that's when he went to church with one of his friends to kind of like cut up and just kind of make fun of the people there. But he liked the message. He joined the LDS church and ended up getting disowned by his mom because she was mad at him.
That's right.
But later she made up with him, and she bragged about him being in America. She was so proud of him. So he went over and sailed to America on a ship, and his girlfriend, who promised he'd marry her, she joined him later, and they sailed into New Orleans and then went up, ended up going across the plains and going to Salt Lake.
Was it Salt Lake?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
And then he
met Anson
Call. And then the church asked him to go up and settle Star Valley, Wyoming.
Yes.
Now, one cool thing is we just found some stories today about when your parents were talking to Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip.
Unbelievable.
Tell them.
No.
Okay.
You tell them because
you were at school when I found it.
Yeah. Okay. You go ahead. Tell them.
So coolest thing, when Mother and Father were meeting with the Queen and Prince Philip, this was at intermission, so before the boys even saw it and they joined in, they were talking. Father and Prince Philip were talking about hunting and fishing. We knew that.
Yeah.
But in Star Valley, Wyoming.
Right there in Star Valley.
Is that cool? Right where we were. And they said that Mother in her journal wrote that Prince Philip had been there, actually, at Star Valley, Wyoming.
Several times
Hunting and fishing. So he knew what Father was talking about.
And it was pretty cool because as we go through these journals, fathers and mothers, we also are finding things from our grandmothers. Like for instance, this we were in Thane. Okay,
Don't do it.
don't do my joke.
Don't do it.
Okay, don't.
No.
Okay, I love Thane. It's the coolest town. But listen to this. Who do you think
I'm
that?
just being sensitive.
Are you being sensitive?
Yes.
Okay. Overly sensitive?
You tell me.
I don't think it's
Okay.
that bad.
All right.
I just don't think it's that
Okay.
bad. I don't think I'm going to get a lot of negative on
You're
it.
your own boss.
I don't. It's so
Then
funny.
do it. Then do
I
it.
just don't think anybody out there is going to criticize me.
Okay.
Now you watch me get 55. Okay.
So
I
he's
was sitting there,
standing
and I was standing there, and I'm thinking, I'm in Thane. I'm in Thane.
He kept doing it all day.
I'm in Thane. And she says, yes, you are.
I'm like, I'm so glad we don't live here. I said,
I'm in Thane. Okay. Watch me get some negative on that. I'm saying now listen to this.
You're hysterical.
Now listen to this. I'm a little bit squirreling, but I think it's appropriate.
Are you,
I feel who do you think this is writing from? I feel I would like to write a few of my thoughts as they come to me this morning. As I look back on my life, I feel the most fortunate for many fine blessings that have come to me. I was born in a little 2-room log house in Thane, Wyoming on September 2nd, 1892. Now, who do you think I'm talking about? I was the 4th child of a family of 16 children, be born of Thomas L. and Martha Van Noy. Little clue there. I had 8 brothers and 7 sisters. She goes on. It's my little grandma, Osmond.
oh, well, that's your ripple still.
Okay,
You're not
now,
swirling.
okay, see,
That's great.
I'm really not, because I there's a motive to reading that. Now, I could read on, and it's really deep stuff. I love it. But look at the ripple. Okay, now you talk about
Now are
Mr.
you
Rock,
here yet?
right there, right here. Okay, Mr. Rock. Okay, now, he was born in London. Okay, now, here's father and mother in London. Okay, look at that ripple effect.
Isn't that a beautiful picture?
On a mission. They're on a mission in London. Now,
They're on a mission representing the church that your great-grandfather, he actually was baptized into in London.
In London.
In the 1800s.
Now figure that one.
And they're back there on a mission.
Okay, how cool is that? Okay,
So that's the next ripple.
now that's the next ripple. Now, and then look at this ripple. See, I'm on track again.
Yeah. So there's the next ripple. Now look at all those. Look at that beautiful family, and they're holding Books of Mormon. And when would you say
It's in Japanese.
that was?
In Japanese in 1968.
And do you know what that was about? Like why were you holding those Books of Mormon, and what was this used for? Do you know?
It was let's see.
I don't know.
You know what? I know who might know.
Who would know?
I know who would know. Do you think we ought to call Kathy and Judy?
Kathy and Judy would know.
Do you think? Because
Do you want to
if
call them?
anybody knows anything about the Osmonds, it's Kathy and Judy. Okay.
Want to call them? Do you want me to call them, or do you want to call them?
Let's you call them.
Okay.
No,
Kat-
I'll call them.
Okay, you call.
Okay. Kathy and Judy.
Yeah, call.
There they are. Can you see them?
Double trouble right there.
Double trouble. Double trouble. Oh, we love them.
So hey, you two, look who's our guests for the next couple weeks here at our place.
Aren't they sweet?
We're having the best time. These girls are so
They
silly.
are so wonderful.
How many times have we eaten Mexican food already in 2 days?
Twice.
Let me tell you about Kathy and Judy. Okay. They have known us forever. And Mother said in her journal a couple different times how much she loved these gals. They were her assistants and trusted assistants, where we could, when Mother trusted someone, she really trusted them. And so they're helping us write this book called Finding My Voice.
And in my heavens, it has evolved.
And it's evolving.
Look at all these.
Now we're taking
Files
journals.
and-
We're taking journals.
Oh my word!
Now again, this is just a smattering of it, a small piece.
We're eyeball deep in all these files,
but we're taking authentic journals.
I keep
from-
turning it to you.
I keep turning it to you. There.
Stop it.
Okay. Then you got to move in, or
I
I'll
don't
keep
want
doing
to.
it.
I want it to
Well,
be
I'll
on
keep
you
doing
right
it.
now.
I'll keep doing
Stop
it.
it.
Okay. All right. Anyway, so we're having Kathy and Judy help us put this together because it's authentic. So let's get them to say something. Unless I like to embarrass people, but I shouldn't do
No,
that.
don't embarrass them.
All right. I like to, but I'd like to say how much that we love them, and
Appreciate them.
appreciate and how much we love you all, and how much I appreciate those that have sent things in. Oh, and
Those
some of the letters.
and notes.
Oh gosh, it'll
We
break
love
your
the
heart.
notes that you've been sending.
How your lives have been affected, but you know what? We have been affected by you.
And the little
and-
cards and notes, we read them all. We've got a lot of
It's
letters.
It's reciprocal. It really is. It's just that and I want, and all my family feel the same way. They, how, you will write how we affected your lives, but boy, have you all affected us. And our grandkids, our kids, their grandkids, they're finding about you and reading about you and how the impact that you've all had on their lives now.
It's
and
not one-sided.
It's not. It's a double coin, or what do you call it?
Double-edged,
Double-sided coin.
coin.
Double-sided coin. Yeah.
One thing that I've been, we've been going through, and
Mm-hmm.
you do it when you get home, you jump right in, but we, it's okay. We have been finding some really cool stories, haven't we, girls? That
Yes.
and the thing is, we have been. The camera's on you, by the way.
Okay. Good.
But we have been finding some of the stories that you guys have heard over the years by different family members being told. What are we finding?
A slightly different version.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just a little bit.
It's just a little
But it's
different.
In Mother's journal, Mother's words, the way she's telling it, firsthand, right?
Right, at the time that it happened.
And so what we're doing is that we're in this book. So in this book, we're making those little alterations and little fixes, stories that may have gone out and gone out and gone out and gone out. We're going to go back to fathers and mothers' journals as they were. And so we went back into this are these magazines called Backstage.
Oh, we found a few of those.
Mother put these things called Backstage.
Do you guys remember those? Who got the Backstage? If you remember those, give us a thumbs up. The Backstage magazines.
This was before Spotlight.
It was like one of the first ones, right? Was it one of the first magazines that went out, Backstage?
It was after Osmond's World and Spotlight. It came out around 82.
Oh, so
It was in the 80s.
It was in the 80s.
okay.
Oh, so Osmond's World, Spotlight, and then Backstage all came out about the same time.
No, Spotlight came out in 75.
75?
Spotlight came out in the U.S., not in the U.K.
Oh, Spotlight was U.S. only.
And
Right.
then Osmond's World was in the UK.
Osmond's
yeah.
World was
For about
UK,
4
And
years.
we didn't get it here in the U.S.
and that was only UK.
I was reading something
And
last
Backstage
night.
was everything, right?
Do you remember that paper I was reading last night about how all the magazines, they took them all and they remember that drama about the magazines? Was that you guys? Were you here? Was it where was I
Oh
reading
no,
that to
that
you?
was just to me, I
I was
think.
going to go. I don't
Yeah,
remember that.
no,
I
no,
need
that's
to find that and read
yeah.
that to you guys because there
Yeah.
was like something to where the like Teen Beat and all that, they were mad because they were circumventing.
because they were,
And, so
they were mad at Mother for
they
putting
were
out these
mad at Mother.
magazines,
And they told
she
her
wrote
to
about
stop, and she said no, or whatever, politely. Well, she went to Vegas and went to the places where all the magazines would have been. There were none of them, and she called the printer, and they were all sitting there on the floor, and they never sent them out. And she's like, "What?
Yeah.
What happened?"
it. Yeah.
And so she found out. Anyway, we'll have to put this on
Yeah,
another time.
yeah.
It was really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
that's why they were sold in the UK and not in the US because
Oh, the
Those-
distribution
the distribution,
Interesting.
the Tiger Beat and
had the monopoly on the.
And 16,
in
yeah,
16.
had the monopoly.
so they
Okay.
stopped it from being sold in the US.
Is that interesting?
Well, we're
Kathy
finding
was around then, weren't you?
No.
Not yet.
not yet.
I was.
Judy
Oh,
was.
Judy was.
Judy was.
Okay. Okay.
I've been
Between the
around
two
since
of
dirt.
these girls, these girls are invaluable
Wow.
because
And they know our story
and their
backwards
memories.
and forwards.
Judy, both of you guys, you have like a steel trap for a memory. I can't believe the things that I can show them any picture, and
Yeah.
between the two of them now. one of them is great, but between the two of them, they have this little thing
Yeah.
they do back and forth, and
Yeah.
they throw it back and forth, and they've been calling it connecting the dots. So tell us, you guys, what's connecting the dots, and what you
What
guys
does that mean to connect
do?
the dots to those that are watching?
All these years, you do this game, you do. Or-
Well, I mean, a lot of the times, like you said, we've heard the stories through the family through the years, and then you start questioning. Okay, so
Sorry, I got a call.
so it's like, did it happen before or after? And so it's like, okay, so when did this actually happen? And then we were coming across some of the things in your mother's journals, and it's like, that's when that happened. And so we're connecting this dot to this dot, and then you're getting the full story instead of the little bits and pieces.
You might have like dot 1 and dot 3 and maybe dot 5, but you're missing 3 and or what
2 and
4. And so as we're reading the journals and stuff, something will come up, and Kathy are like, oh, wait, this is number 2. This is number 2. And so we're going, now we got 1 and 2 and 3.
That's great.
And then we just got to find 4. And so it's just a
Yeah.
matter of just keep researching.
How many dots did we find today?
Oh my gosh.
We found
So
so
many.
many
Yeah.
good things today.
Yeah, I've
You know.
typed up over 10 pages of notes today.
Wow.
So
And you know the
Well,
cool thing,
this is so cool.
the weird thing is, sorry, we're so low tech, we tell you that. The weird thing is, and the cool thing is that we came here to Arizona, Jay and I, and we didn't bring a lot of stuff. We left a lot of it in storage.
This freaked me out.
And we brought what we thought we'd need. We brought like these big tubs of our clothes and a little bit of furniture and things.
On
And,
a little trailer.
well,
We're
and we
behind
brought
it.
that big Penske truck too.
That was furniture.
But it was only things we thought we'd need in this house.
That's right.
Somehow 5 or 6 huge tubs of all this stuff we're looking at, all these files, all these pictures, just appeared. Like somehow
And
they
I
got
do
on
not
the truck.
remember putting
we don't
them
know
on.
how they got on the truck. We did have those guys helping us load, so they must have grabbed them and not knowing we didn't want them here.
Or something. I don't know. It's a mystery.
Anyway.
It's an absolute
So
mystery.
all the stuff we've been reading to you the last few weeks, the stuff about Jay's mom writing down the day he was born and all her feelings, that was all in this stuff that we didn't even, Jade never opened.
That
Ever.
was really blown away
You've
by
never
that.
opened that.
And we read something last night. It's made my day. It was about Mother was recording this thing about Wayne, and he was playing his clarinet, and he did it because the cattle loved it. It was up in Huntsville.
Oh, we've got to find that, Jay.
Oh, it is
Do you
so
know where
precious.
that was? You remember that file?
Eh,
We have
Actually
to.
have it on the computer.
Oh, we have to
Oh,
read you this.
okay.
Do you have
This-
the file, or are you just going to bring the
I'm just
computer
gonna
over?
bring the computer.
Okay, it is the funniest
It-
Wayne story ever. We were going to send this to Wayne.
And there was a sad one about Wayne too. We had to rush him to the hospital
Oh,
about
yeah,
that. Remember?
yeah.
And
Yeah.
anyway, there was. We're finding all kinds of gems, and
But this is hysterical. We were
Yeah.
we were going to do it one of these visits, and so
that's right.
why not do it now?
Okay, Kathy, would you?
Do you want to read it,
Kathy,
Okay,
or do you want Jay to read it?
okay, all right. I'll just put it right here. Okay.
More
It's-
files.
This paragraph right there, the
Okay.
second to the last.
The second, one day, now this is a quote from Mother. One day, Wayne was outside playing his clarinet. He noticed that the cows in the neighborhood, or in the neighboring field, were all coming toward him and lining up along the fence. It was an amusing sight. He had them hypnotized. Then all of a sudden, when he quit playing, they turned and started stampeding right toward the lake. In fact, a couple of them went right to the lake. We never could figure that out. Well, I remember this, and I
Did ya?
remember one thing that he hit a high note. Actually, that's why they took off. He was going, and he squeaked it. That's when they took off. Actually,
Oh, they didn't
So,
like that high note.
They didn't like the high note. So it was
that
it was a
hysterical?
funny thing. Yeah.
But there's a lot of stories like that.
I know.
mean, everything from what you guys had for dinner.
Oh, it was like a diary and a journal together. It was just amazing, all the
Yeah.
things that we're finding,
The things she documented. She documented everything.
and documented. There was a story about Donnie and Deb that shook Donnie last night. I said it to him, and it just
Oh, you did? You sent it?
I sent it to
And he
him.
liked it?
It's just he says, Jay, that changed my life,
Oh.
and I go, wow, and because what happened was we showed how it really formed.
But it was a combination. It was what Mother said in her journal and what,
what
Father said in his journal.
And we put it together.
And she typed it all on one page.
Yeah, that's right.
A lot of these pages we can't tell if it's her or Father, and then at the bottom they'll say who they are. And
Well, but what you can do, see, there's a difference. See, now this kind of writing, that's Father's writing. He's got a flair to it, and Mother's is very, very, very.
But this is all typed
But this
up.
was typed. See, exactly.
But anyway, there's some really cool stuff that we're gonna distribute to your family.
Yeah.
Her story and your father's stories about the Queen and how that
Yes.
came to pass, why they did that,
And
all of that. It's a little different than we've heard.
Yeah, it is. It's just, but that's why I love the book that's going to come out, because we want to make it very accurate. But I want to do
And you're kind of rearranging a little bit of the musical.
the musical. And let me
the back. You want to back everything up that it's all real.
I'm backing it all up and validating it all. And let me just ease those out there, anybody out there that was wondering if I'm going to make the family look bad, or if I'm going to embarrass anybody, or let me just ease your mind. If I have any concern out there about it, what I'm doing is I'm telling the story from my point of view, okay? And I absolutely love my family. Yes, we're not perfect, and there'll be some things in there that are drama, but nobody is going to be made embarrassed or look bad, because I don't have anything embarrassing really to say about my family.
Love them and you wouldn't do that
And
to
I
them
love my
anyway.
father and mother and brothers and sister. And I would tell the story as it is real, but it's got to live. It's got you got to know the truth,
But nothing hurtful.
nothing hurtful. There's nothing hurtful in it, because we've had people write in, "Oh, I worry. Are you going to be telling some things about?" Because I've said I'm going to tell the real raw story.
But nothing hurtful.
But yeah,
Never.
some people have interpreted
Well,
that
but
as
they should
hurtful.
know Jay. They should know Jay. Jay would never hurt, and Jay would never make his family look bad.
Of course not, because why? Because number one, I love him. Number two, I really believe that we're on a mission still.
Mm-hmm.
And number three, if I do want to do anything, I want to elevate and lift not only people, but my family. And
Especially your family.
especially my family. So I want to make that real clear. If anybody's out there wondering, and I've just got a couple of people that wondered, but I just want to clarify that. So I felt that was important to say. But anyway, the reason why we're doing this, because we felt bad that
so bad on Saturday.
in Afton, that it was so spotty, that people couldn't quite get it where we were.
But I loved your ripple, and
Thank you.
And I loved that, and I think that if you could expand on that a little bit, maybe, and lead us out. And
Well, and I want to do those uploads if we can, we
Yeah.
can do that before our next live session.
Mm-hmm.
But let me just end with the fact that we all have an effect, and remember, it's always by choice. Whatever your choices are will have an effect on someone. It could be your own kids or grandkids or your neighbor, or someone will find out, and you will have a positive effect or a negative effect. It's all free. It's all our agency. The Lord lets us have our agency so that.
but our agency does affect others.
But it does. There are consequences. Okay. Mm-hmm. And we can choose what we want to do, but we can't always choose the consequences. So remember that, and remember that whatever you decide to do, and you're thinking, well, it's not going to hurt anybody, it will if it's negative. And if it's positive, it'll bless someone. And so I didn't want to end with that. So.
Well, thank you, and everyone say goodbye to Kathy and Judy. We're going to have so much fun this week, and we'll pop in with some lives.
And we'll try to put
having
those
fun.
lives uploads too for you.
And then we'll have some fun with the girls. We'll be posting some fun lives with these crazy girls.
Crazy girls.
So
Bye,
say
everybody.
goodbye.
Okay.
Goodbye, you all. We
Bye-bye.
love you. Bye
Love
bye.
you.